Welcome to American Dreams. I'm here today with Howard Rosenfeld. He's the founder of the Farmers Table. Howard, welcome to today's show.
Thanks so much, Alan. Nice to join you.
Howard, we just met a short while back at your dinner table and just visiting about this ambitious project that the Farmers Table. I was really impressed and I'm just really honored to have you on today's show. For the listeners, though, can you take us back before the Farmers Table existed? And was there a particular moment or experience that sparked your passion for sustainable farming
Yes,
community?
sure. Well, growing up in the 50s, and the 60s, basically, I grew up in a suburban community that was surrounded by farms. And we basically shopped and ate at the local farm stand or from the local farm stand. So when Cheryl and I arrived in Warren in 2000, we recognized the agricultural history and legacy that the region had and the town had. So we saw, but we also saw very little awareness on the part of some area homeowners. So that was not so much a moment as it was a feeling of disconnection. And we started the Smithy in response. Now, the Smithy was a local market carrying products that were made, grown, or raised within a 70-mile radius of the store. And this helped to showcase the existing local resources to customers who might not have otherwise recognized that. And while we no longer own the store, it still continues to occupy a center of the town with a similar mission and similar product profile. So that's really what got us started on the Farmers Table. The Farmers Table go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, and that's so good. I think that what essentially you're trying to do is bridge the gap between farmers and community and give them a venue to really help a
Yes.
sustained source of living.
Yeah, and basically, the farmers are very much part of the community. So we don't differentiate between them. The problem was trying to bridge the gap because some of other people in the area didn't necessarily sense that. And Cheryl and I, throughout our work for a long time, have really always been about how do we build, create, and engage community in common effort.
I love it. And that's essentially the American dream, the foundation by which this country was built on.
Exactly right.
Okay, so Howard, can you tell us the story of how the Farmers Table came to life?
Sure. So a friend was visiting the Smithy for the first time and was so taken by the whole concept of the regional community awareness that she suggested that maybe we should have a party, a dinner that would bring farmers and community members together over a meal prepared from the food that the farmers had produced. And many attendees. So we put this together in 30 days. It was pretty crazy the way it all rolled out. But the people who attended that dinner many of them had never even met a farmer before. And they really enjoyed the experience of sitting, talking, better understanding the farmer, what causes them to farm. Because I can tell you, no farmers go into business to become rich. They go into business for a love of the land. They go into business for love of growing things and for sharing those gifts with the community. So we kind of saw our opportunity as bringing more members of the community closer to that experience and into that community.
So when you sense that this gap in place, identifying the gap versus solving the gap are two different things.
Right, no question.
Yeah,
I'm still working on solving it, by the way.
How did you really? And sometimes the entrepreneur does a lot of experimenting and stuff like that. But if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about how communities support local farming, what would it be as you try to identify and bridge that gap?
So I think that one would be in making people in the community more aware of what the farmers are doing, and allowing the community to support and recognize and appreciate the work being done by those farmers in helping to bring us healthy food choices. You know, farming industry in our area, throughout the country for that matter, but I can use Connecticut specifically as a kind of a laboratory test. You know, we're facing some significant challenges. I can tell you that the access to affordable farmland, Connecticut has the third most expensive farmland in the country, and we're a tiny little state. Yeah. Um, Succession issues. You know, the average age of the Connecticut farmer is about 58 years old, and 31% of those are 65 years of age or older. So they're ready to retire. They're trying to figure out a way to retire and still keep the farmland in use. Between 2017 and 2022, Connecticut lost 463 farms to development. And the irony of development is that you're taking capacity off the property and you're bringing demand onto the property. So it's just not a healthy equation. So that's some of the challenges that we face, but there are many organizations and initiatives that can help to do that. And the Farmers Table encourages community members to support all of these.
So when you look in your crystal ball and you're saying, okay, the local food system is evolving or is transitioning into something else, where do you see it going in 5 to 10 years?
Well, in the past 5 years, we've had the challenges of COVID, bird flu, and now tariffs. And each of those has impacted food supplies, pricing, and demonstrated the weakness of the food supply chain. So the average vegetable, just to give you a frame of reference, the average vegetable today travels about 5,000 miles to reach your plate and is handled by 7 different people. And in the past 50 years, 30% of the nutrients from that vegetable have been lost due to chemical inputs, soil infertility, and post-harvest handling. So these are some of the challenges to the food system. We think that establishing a local food system along more regenerative lines will help to reverse that. This is a situation, we will face situations that cannot be cured, can't be reversed. This is a situation that does have a cure. And that cure lies at the feet of the community that supports it. So our goal in the Farmers Table really is to bring the community to an understanding of the issues that farmers face, the challenges they face, and also by virtue of their experience over the past 5 years, their desire to help support some of that.
You know, I love your vision where it talks about farmers as innovators and stewards of the land. Yeah, can we go a step further? Maybe give some examples of a local farmer who embodies that vision.
Sure. So I want to give you 2 examples, Alan, at both ends of that spectrum. So Ben Piletsky is a member of our Farmers Table board and a 4th-generation farmer and technology entrepreneur. As an innovator, he's developing something called Rural Lab, which combines agriculture and technology. An example of this would be how robotics can help address the farm labor shortage, which is a very real thing that we face up here. On the second part, land stewardship, Bailey Drown and her husband, Dan Quinn, own and operate Long Table Farm down in Lyme, Connecticut. As land stewards, they're using livestock composting and farm practices to eliminate the need for synthetic chemicals. They also employ season extending strategies such as high tunnels or greenhouses, which gives them the opportunity, therefore, to offer produce to their customers year round. And their work prioritizes soil health, biodiversity, and climate resilience. So in giving you those two examples, I'm showing you the both ends of the spectrum working towards the center, which is a resilient, healthy food system and a resilient community.
So, what are the biggest challenges facing the farmers table today?
Oh, the biggest challenges that we face are gaining the trust and the confidence of the organizations that are doing really amazing works in their respective spaces. The farmers table at 15 years is in some cases a newcomer, new kid on the block, and you know, but and one of our key messages to them is that basically we're not trying to replicate their work. We want to recognize their work and bring that into closer alignment with similar work being done by other organizations. So in that way, the Farmers Table describes itself as connective tissue. We don't have any programs specifically that are branded Farmers Table other than our annual fundraising dinner or our website maybe. But the programs and initiatives that we're out there really promoting to the community and to the farmers are those programs and initiatives that are being offered by either the state of Connecticut Department of Agriculture or other local nonprofit areas. Farmers, the resource that the most valuable resource that farmers have is time, and they just don't have a lot of it. This time of the year, the sun rises at 6 and it sets at 8:30. They're in the field. They're up before long hours before that. They're in the field late after that. And, coming home, they drag themselves. Maybe they can get a little bite to eat. They don't really have a lot of time to find out what are the resources that are out there. That's one of the goals of the farmers table, is to bring those resources to them in a very approachable way.
So, when you think of the farmers table years from now, what does that success look like to you?
Well, it looks like I would almost see basically the farmers table being out of business. I mean, ideally, we'd love to put a lot out of business. We've accomplished a lot in these 15 years. We've strengthened farmer community ties. We've shared by sharing stories at our dinners. We've underwritten short films for the host farms marketing efforts. We've engaged farmers through feedback dinners and workshops. We provided scholarships for young farmers. We purchased CSA shares, which is community supported agriculture, for those that might not be familiar with the term. And that provides early season cash flow for farmers in exchange for a savings, a discount on produce when it comes to market. But we've taken those CSA shares and we've given them to food insecure populations, organizations that are working with people at the edge of nutritional health, senior citizens who really don't have access to good, healthy food. Um, we've we're building a website, which I kind of alluded to a little bit, which offers a public face to the community, showing them mapping the farmers, showing farms events that are taking place, and that calendar of events goes across various statewide calendars. We're also on the second part of that website is a kind of an inward-facing, farmer-only password protected site that offers farmers access to grant writing tools, crop management advice, sustainable farm techniques, innovations in agriculture and technology, and networking opportunities with their peer group, which they don't often get a chance to do. So success looks like there being no need for the farmers table to exist in the future, because the system will have established itself, its own balance and its own momentum, and all members of our community, from the farmer to those dealing with food insecurity and their neighbors, are all part of that fabric and moving in the same direction.
Now, the website today is live.
The website is live.
Okay,
Yes.
and how do the listeners access that?
It's www.farmers-table.org. And it's a work in progress. It's still in its early stages, but they can see it.
Yeah, I like the fact that as you build out this community in a sustainable uh, group, I think there's a lot of interest in this today.
Yes.
And the fact you're putting calendars now. Right now, you're local to Connecticut,
Northwest Connecticut.
Northwest
But
Connecticut.
but we think it's a very replicable model, Alan. Any community that's interested or would want to try to adopt some of the programs that we've taken or built over time, we're happy to share.
Okay. Well, thank you, Howard. It's been a pleasure having you with us today on American Drapes.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it. Appreciate the time. Good to see you.
You too.